What's up, everybody? It's been a while. Haven't been out here in, I'm going to say, well, I've been out here. I was out here 2 weeks ago. We had a local 3D tournament that I did, and I have not filmed out here in about a month, which was right before the Arizona Cup, which worked out pretty well. I qualified first on our windiest day ever, and then I ended up taking third at the end of that in the finals. I got beat in the semifinals by Spanky Brooks. Spanky Brooks spanked me. I'll just say that. And anyway, it was a great time. Marcus Cooley won. Spanky Brooks took the silver medal, and I took the bronze. And it worked out really nice. But back to traditional archery. I am going to be doing a lot of stuff with traditional archery here. Probably for the majority of the summer, maybe leading up to Outdoor Target Nationals, which of course I'll be shooting barebow and getting ready for that. But I figured I'd come out, had a little window of opportunity. We kind of had a crappy day today with weather. It's super cloudy. It rained a few times on and off. But I figured I had to run an errand out here anyway. I had to put something up on the bulletin board. I figured I'd come out. I just grabbed some arrows, and I grabbed a bow off the wall. And this is one I have not shown yet. I figured I'd shoot this one. I don't even know if these arrows are going to work. We'll do this together. I usually shoot wood arrows out of this bow, but I only have one left from the batch that I made for this particular bow. What I have in my hands is a Journeyman Archery Longbow. This particular bow, I will hold it up, and you can see it's very high gloss. It's a 60-inch bow, 50 pounds at 28, and it was made in May of 14, and it says, for my friend Matt Yaka, the Jedi, and this was the Jedi. And again, you may have seen this sticker on some of my other longbows. But again, I have a clicker on there, but you can see where it says Journeyman Archery. Jared Marinelli, a very good friend of mine. I met Jared back in probably 2010, so 15 years ago, I'm guessing, on a trad gang hunt. If you've been around the traditional archery world and remember when we used to go to forums, the leather wall still exists, trad gang still exists. Just I don't think people are on those much anymore as they are on Facebook. But I met Jared back on a trad gang hunt where we were hunting Lawrence, Kansas. I don't remember who put that hunt on, but that's where I met Jared, and we've been good friends ever since. And Jared he no longer makes bows, but he made essentially two. This was the riser, and it different grip shapes, of course. He shaped this one for me. I wanted something specific. He made a longbow and a recurve. Obviously, this one is a longbow reflex deflex. It's got a beautiful shape. This one, again, is high gloss. It was not high gloss originally, but it is now. So what you see are myrtle limbs. These are myrtle. I'm a huge myrtle fan. I've mentioned that on some of the other videos. Huge fan of myrtle. It's just absolutely beautiful. And it is Macassar Ebony Riser. And again, this is a high gloss. It was not always high gloss. I sent it back to him at some point. I can't remember when exactly. And I said, let's dip this thing in some clear coat. And he did. He epoxied. This is an epoxy dip. I think there's two dips here on both the limbs and the riser. And I had him make this as a high wrist grip, which I no longer shoot high wrist, but this is high wrist and contoured. And if you know anything about me and my target shooting, I no longer shoot that high wrist anymore. And you can tell that's quite high. The other thing about this it's quite slick, being so just being that high gloss. It's very slick. Anyway, I had to make this bow for me in 2014, and it's been to Canada, it's been to Ohio, it's been to Michigan, it's been to Texas, it's been a bunch of places. But I'll talk about that as I'm shooting. I do have a clicker on there, and we've talked about that a bunch. Oh, there's some friends of mine. Yeah, you can come show me how to shoot it. These smart ass kids, I tell you. But yeah, there's some friends of mine up there. What, you guys come and practice without me? Nice. Getting ready for the next one. I get you. All right. Anyway, these clowns, friends of mine. So this bow's been to a lot of places, and I'll talk about that as I'm shooting it. Again, I always shot wood arrows with this particular bow, and I'll talk about that a little bit too as I'm shooting. I just grabbed some Easton carbons, and they have 200 grain points on them. I'm not sure what they're going to do. We'll give it a go, and let's get to shooting. So like I said, I do have a clicker on this bow. I put clickers on all of my hunting bows. I've told you guys that, I think, in the video with my Kanadi, and I'll explain more of that at a later time. I have not shot this bow in quite a while, but we're going to shoot it and see what we get. See how this works out. I got a little target in front of me there. Small elk. Oh, these fly really nice out of there. So these are 200 grain, like I said, 200 grain points on a 600 spine Easton. Oh, they fly beautiful. I got, like I said, this is a hunting bow specific. Let's turn that. This self-filming for the birds. You guys have heard me say that too. But that worked out nicely. 2 kill shots right there on that elk. You know, I was back in 2014, 2015, target shooting wasn't even a thing for me yet. I had not even started shooting with the Olympic recurve. Barebow wasn't, I didn't start shooting barebow until 2021. So hunting bow, like I had most of them, like most of us do. We get hunting bows and we start out with our wood bows, and I have a bunch. I have 4 Journeyman bows, 4 of Jared's bows. Currently have 4. I've had, I think I had 1 or 2 others that I bought either at auction or on the classifieds on Trad Gang back in the day. And I've loved absolutely every one of them. I got a target right by the camera there. And a little early click. Beautiful shot. These arrows are working great out of this bow. Beautiful. They're flying gorgeous. Flying very well. Hopefully that mic's not messing up. Well, this is only like a 12 or 15 yard shot, but there we go. And this little muley. So I'm on a staircase. You can see that target behind me. It's a turkey. It's about a little over 20 yards. But we'll just shoot it from here. So again, back when I was buying bows and getting these, all or most of my hunting bows were right around 50 pounds. I never really, that's not true. I started shooting around 60 pounds when I started my traditional archery journey, which was a big mistake. And we all know that we probably shouldn't go too heavy, kind of talk about that a lot. So, but this at 50 pounds, good elk medicine. I would hunt anything with this. I've killed a bear with this. I've killed pig with this. And I may have shot a doe with this. I can't remember. But yeah, let's shoot a turkey. Can you see that flight? I don't know if you can see the arrow flight, but they're flying really nice. There we go. Two right in the same spot. So like I mentioned, I did shoot a bear with this. I assume, let's see, I'm going to assume that hunt, just looking at the date on my bow, I got this in May of 14. That last hunt I went on would have been roughly May of 15. So that I went on a trad gang. If you were part of that group at the time, trad gang Tom Phillips would put on a bear quest hunt. They were very big. A lot of people would go. It was a lot of fun. I got to hunt with some great people, amazing people over the years. Barry Wenzel being one. Bodoc, if you guys knew who that was. It was a really nice man. I got to hang out with Gary Hall on this particular hunt. So I brought this bow, killed my bear. I hunted with Gary Hall of D&M Custom Arrows. You may have heard of those. I called him Ginger Beard Man. And I actually filmed his hunt. A little low. But that was a great hunt. That was the last bear I killed, and that was the last bear I probably will kill. Maybe unless here in Colorado I happen upon one and have a tag in my pocket. But that last bear I shot kind of broke my heart. I hit it one day, and we came out and I went back and looked for it. We found it. It was only 30 yards away, but it was still alive. I had to put another arrow in it, which I did not like to do. It just kind of broke my heart to have to do that. And it was rough for me, which is, I think it'd be rough for most people. I'm pretty sensitive when it comes to killing animals. Nice shot. I hope you can see the arrow flight. It's actually really nice. Take one more. Nice shot. Trying to think of who else is on that hunt. John Suika, if you guys know who that is. But the Trad Gang Bear Quest hunts were a lot of fun. I think the way Tom did it was 10, I'd say 12 to 15 guys at a time. I think he still does them, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know. Have not been on one in a while. 12 to 15 guys at a time in 2 different legs. So they go all the way up to Quebec, Canada. Tom would go up every other weekend, I think, from his home in Massachusetts and set that whole thing up and baiting and such. And then we'd go in big groups, hunt, and then another big group, that big group would come out and another big group would go in. And I went on 2 of those hunts. I've shot bears both times. A lot of fun. It's a whole week, and when you're done, if your hunt's over early, you do some fishing, and I did that, of course. Caught my first pike there. It's just a lot of fun. Really cool area. Really isolated up in Quebec, Canada. Let's keep the camera rolling. Shoot another one. I got a Wolverine right behind you guys. I don't know, maybe about 16 yards or so. Perfect shot. The only thing I'd change about this particular bow, because that grip is so high and my hand is sliding again because it is so polished, if you will, that clear coat is slick, I would put a little piece of rubber on it. As a matter of fact, I had a rubber grip on here, just an inner tube for a bicycle, and over time it dry rot and cracked, and I peeled it off recently. So I will put another one on there just for that grip, that texture that I'm looking for. I don't like my hands sliding around. Of course, no one does. But man, this bow is a shooter. All of Jared's bows are really good shooters. I'd say a working man's bow. Definitely this thing can take a beating. This bow can take an absolute beating. It's fallen off my truck and we'll end it on hard ground, and there's not a scuff on it. But Jared does not make bows any longer. He hasn't in some time. I'm sure I could convince him to make me a bow if I really wanted to, but I have 4. I have, let's see, I have 3 longbows and a recurve. And I figured I'd highlight this one first. I've shot this one the least in the last few years, but I have my other one I shoot, I got from him about 3 or 4 years ago. I shoot the most. It's another longbow. So I'll highlight all of those bows here as the summer goes on. This one just happens to be one of the prettier ones, like I said, with this myrtle, which is absolutely gorgeous, and ebony riser. Really pretty bow. All right. Got my tree stand shot, obviously. I don't know why there's an arrow holder up here. The target is right next to the camera, about 30 yards away. Ish. Let's see. I should know all of these distances, but I don't. I'm gonna guess that's 25 yards, actually. Tuck my arm guard string. All right. Beautiful shot. Had a little caribou. I've always wanted to hunt caribou. I've just never done it. And I'm only getting older, folks. These things get harder to do as we get older. I hit my arm. You probably heard that, and that arrow flew wildly. These strings are too long. I'll cut them. I'll shoot one more arrow. The hit was okay, but the arrow flew bad after hitting my arm guard. Beautiful shot. Good arrow flight. Good impact. You know, hang this up. Show you the shots. Yeah. pretty good. All right, while I'm right here, I just shot that guy. There's another target down here I'll just shoot at. Why not? Let's do another one. Good enough. All right. I had an elk target out there about 25 yards away. So I have mentioned now a couple occasions that I put a clicker on all of my hunting bows. Even if it's a bow I don't have set up for hunting but will take hunting, I will absolutely put a clicker on that bow. Perfect shot. Now, why? There's a couple really good reasons why I put clickers on my hunting bows. The first and foremost, I don't need a clicker to shoot. A lot of you know me as a competitive archer, and I don't use a clicker, obviously. But first and foremost, when you're hunting, or if you're going to take a shot at an animal, there's so many things you don't realize you are paying attention to, and your shot isn't necessarily one of them. If let's say you're in a scenario or a situation where I'm shooting an elk, you have a small herd of elk, let's call it four elk, and you have a bull, and you're wanting to shoot that bull, and you have his eyes, and you have, let's say there's three cows there, and you have 6 other eyes just combing the area. You're watching the faces of these animals more than you know. You're like, if I were to pick this bow up and draw this bow at this bull, and there were other animals around, I'm really paying attention to what's going on. I probably wouldn't even draw the bow until everything was out of sight. The second you pick up your bow, everything's gone. They're just going to run. So you're watching faces. You're supposed to be looking at what it is you want to hit. But if that animal doesn't come in alone, you're paying attention to other things, I promise. That being said, perfect shot. That being said, I put a clicker on my bows because I've learned from experience, through myself and others, that we are paying attention to the shot a lot less than we think. You might have a scenario where you're whitetail hunting from a tree stand or wherever, it doesn't matter, and a buck comes in by itself and it's got its head down. Yeah, sure. And you have a good opportunity to take that buck. Yeah, absolutely. You might just be paying attention to what you're supposed to be doing in that scenario, where you can pay attention to your shot the way you're supposed to be. But it doesn't always work out that way. You're always looking at other things. You're always paying attention to other things. And a quality shot requires an amount of concentration that goes beyond just flinging an arrow, especially shooting at a live animal. You're shooting at a live animal, you're taking a life. You want that animal to die as quickly as it possibly can. And you want to make the best shot you possibly can. So I try to personally take out all the factors. I know I'm someone that has and had and kind of do struggle with target panic. If I can utilize this and use it to my advantage and help me take a good shot, I'm going to do it. I coach a lot of people on the clicker, how to get on it, how to get off of it. But if you've never taken a good quality shot, I highly recommend you put a clicker on your bow. I'm going to talk about this a little more in a second here. In my opinion, one of the biggest reasons, aside from what I spoke about already, of using or for using a clicker is that the clicker was originally designed to be a draw check, not necessarily a trigger, but a draw check, which tells you that you're at full draw to where you tuned your bow. And when you're hunting, especially in places like here in Colorado, we are rarely ever on flat ground. It's so rare to be on flat ground here in Colorado. I can't even explain it, especially in the mountains. And if I'm not on flat ground where I set my bow up to shoot flat, and I'm shooting uphill or downhill, and like in this case, I'm obviously in a tree stand, target down below me, I'm probably, 15 feet up, maybe a little more from that target, my draw length is going to be shorter. I guarantee it's going to be shorter. Now, there are ways to combat that, at least what we do in field archery, which might be where we draw the bow and then we tip at the hip, keeping our upper body still in that movement to combat that short draw. But that excess or extra movement during hunting is really gonna mess up your hunt if something sees you move like that. And you'll see if you've ever watched a video, let's say from South Cox, for instance, who shoots mule deer right below him in rocks, those positions will cause you to short draw. And the clicker, like I mentioned, acts as a draw check. So you'll see if I draw this bow flat, you can hear my clicker. When I angle downward, it takes a little extra for me to make that pull. And it's just because of the angle. Same with extreme uphill. It's the same. You have to shift your hip at the hip, not at the shoulders, which most people do. But again, if you're hunting, another factor would and could potentially be an uphill or downhill shot. And even from a tree stand. So again, I remove that factor by putting on a clicker. It's just simple to do. It's helping me. It's helping my shot. And that's, to me, what matters. And so, again, if you're a hunter and you're not a competitor and you're struggling with target panic, or maybe like the things I mentioned that you want to take out of play, by all means do it. Put a clicker on your bow. And you'll see it'll help. It'll be helpful. It's a useful tool, and most people see it as a negative, and it's not. And I'm going to discuss that in pretty extensive detail here shortly. So anyway, I'm going to conclude again. Journeyman Archery, Jared Marinelli, Longbow. Next time I'll bring out one of my other ones, like I mentioned earlier, and we'll shoot that as well. But if you can find these in the classifieds, I'd grab it if I were you. They're amazing shooting bows, very durable, and highly recommended. Like I said, if you can find one, I would totally get one. And like I said earlier, also, we're going to shift, or I'm going to shift all or most of my YouTube content to traditional up until we get closer to Outdoor Target Nationals. We'll go back to barebow. But again, remember, the information's pertinent to everyone across the board. So hopefully you stick around and learn something. And that's it. I hope you guys have a good day. Please subscribe if you're not subscribed. And remember, always make it look good. And we'll see you guys soon. Peace.